All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue working on our shipping component, and we're gonna focus on just adding the component state to this shipping component, and that's gonna be it. Okay, so as far as the component states go, I could see us having only 5 right now. So we're gonna have the address, address 2, city, state, and zip. All right, so let's go ahead and set that up. But before we start making use of our state, we're gonna have to pull in use state from React. And let's go ahead and declare these states. So the first one is going to be address. And we're gonna initialize it to an empty string. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this and duplicate it 4 more times for the other state. And this next one is gonna be address 2, set address 2, city, and then the last one is zip. All right, so this is where our component state is going to be held at. All right, next step is we are going to go ahead to our HTML or JSX and attach the value attribute and an on change to each one of them. So we're going to start with the address, the first address, and that's going to be here in the input. We're going to do a value of, it's going to be address, add an on change, and when that change is detected, we're going to fire off an event, and actually we're going to call the set address and then set the address to be the event target value. And this behavior will essentially be the same for the other fields as well. All right, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and copy the value and on change from here and paste it onto the next one over. Just change this address 2 and set address 2. All right, and now for the city, do the same. Set city. For the state, let's see, for the state, go ahead and paste that right here inside the select tag. If I save, that's going to reformat it so we can actually see it. Okay, so now this one's going to be the state and set state. And don't confuse this state, by the way, with like when I say component state or redux state or anything of that nature. When I'm saying set state in this context, this is the select field is for like the states of the United States, right? Because here, that's what this field is for. We're gonna have a drop down with all the states that you'll typically see in any application, right? Or have a drop down with all your states. So that's what I'm referring to when I say state, all right? And let's go ahead to the next one. So for the zip, all right, and that is it for that. All right, so the next step is to go to the top of this form, and we're gonna attach an on submit and give it an event name, an event handler name of handle submit. Okay, now we're gonna go here right above the return tag or the return statement, and we're going to set up our handle submit event, and we're going to do an event prevent default. Next, I'm going to set up an object which is going to hold all of these properties or these values here, so we can prepare prior to submitting it and storing it inside our local storage and the Redux store. So we're going to store it inside a variable called shipping data. It's going to be an object. And then within here, we're just going to pass along all these values here. So we'll do address 2, city, state, and then zip. And then here we'll do a console log. Actually, we'll take care of the console log later, just so we can do our testing and make sure that all the data that's stored in here, that we can actually console log it the moment that the user, the moment that we click continue, okay? But just for testing purposes, just so we can make sure everything, all the data is actually being stored here. Okay, so now that we have that, there's just one final thing though that we have to do, and that is for the select tag here. Okay, we currently have only this thing here, this option, which is just a choose, but we need that list of states. So in order to do that, this is what we're gonna do. Go to your source and create a new folder within it and call it data. And for the data, within that data folder, create a file and call it USA states.js. Okay. Now within this JSX, within this file, I have this this already prepared. It's an array of objects with all of the United States states. Okay, and it gives two properties: the name, which is the full name of the state, and the abbreviation of that state. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and copy this array of objects and paste it inside this file here for the USA states. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. And by the way, in case just a reminder that all this code that you'll find for these videos is here in my GitHub repository. Okay, and the link will be provided to the source code here. Okay, so just to let you know as a reminder that all the code for the videos is here in the source code, and you can find which will include also these USA states, everything. All right, so now that we have that, okay, so now we have this file with the USA states. So we'll go back to the shipping. Let's go ahead and import that file. I'm going to say USA states, and VS Code is kind enough to automatically fill out the rest for us. All right, so now we got our USA states, and that's an array of objects. So we're going to have to do a sort of loop. So going here to our select tag for the state, we are going to, actually we'll do it right below this first option tag. So we're gonna say USA states.map, and then for each one we'll label as S, meaning like the state. For each state, we are going to, actually let me collapse the side panel for a moment. Okay, so for each state, we are going to create an option tag, and within that option tag, for each option tag, we are going to say state dot. Remember here, there's two properties: the name which is the full name and then the abbreviation. So for here, we want to do state.name. And then as far as the attributes for the option tag, we're going to have to do first the key, because remember, we're iterating. This is React, so we're have to pass a key, and we're going to say we're going to use the abbreviation, so we'll use key, the abbreviation. And then also for the value, we're also going to make it the abbreviation, so we'll do state.abbreviation. Okay, so if I go ahead and save that, shipping data is assigned a value but never used. Number 15. Oh, okay, gotcha, no problem. All right, so now at this point, we have our form set up. So what we want to do is test that the moment that a user, or for now, right, just for testing, I'm just going to test that the moment that I click on this continue button here, that it's going to fire off this handle submit, and then the data is going to be filled into this object. And what we want to do is console log that to see that the data is being that this object is being filled with the data. We'll do shipping data. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and test this out. So now going back here, we're going to do actually do 1, 2, 3. Do 1, 2, 3 Main Street. And for apartment number, we'll do 1, 2, 3. We'll do 4, 4, 5. City, we'll do Fresno. Okay, why didn't that go through? Or let's do a refresh on this. There we go. All right, so you see that we get all the list of all the states here. But on top of that, here's another thing that's we want to check here. So if you click on this little side thing here, and then click on this element here, the select tag drop down, the dev tools will take us directly to that tag, and you'll see here for each option we have the state, but also the value, which is the abbreviation for each individual state. Okay, and this abbreviation here is going to be the actual value that's going to be passed along and stored inside this state here, and then eventually this object here. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and test this again. I'm gonna bring this down a little more. All right, let's fill this out again. 1, 2, 3 Main Street. 4, 4 or 3, 3, 4. Do Fresno, and then now we can select California. And then zip code will do 11223. And then if we do continue, look at here in the console, we get our object. All right, so we have the address 2, city, and the state, which I mentioned is going to make use of the abbreviation, and then the zip. All right, so we have our object that is prepared and ready to be stored into our local storage and the Redux store. All right, so I will see you in the next video.